Hello and welcome to the Monroe Mythic Clancast. I am Jason Monroe. This is episode 145. It is a drizzly and breezy Monday morning ahead of a heat wave happening this week apparently. My kids go back to school in 2 days. They go back on Wednesday. And it's got me thinking a lot about what lies ahead. So we're getting to that point. Now, you know that I've been doing this for a while, right? I've been running the Monroe Method since 2018. So 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my 8th summer of doing what I do. That's 8 times I've been through the cycle, 8 times I've seen this pattern, 8 times I've seen all the same things come up. Here are some examples. Scottish school holidays break up earlier than the rest of the UK, right? So it will become more prevalent as I get further towards the end of the English school holidays. But what's going to start happening is people are going to be, or what has been happening so far is people spend the first half of the year, and you'll recognise this pattern, you spend the first half of the year thinking about your weight. You just want to get Christmas and New Year out the way. You booked your summer holiday last year. You're going back to Alcudia in August for 2 weeks, all-inclusive. You're aware it's all-inclusive. You're going to eat a lot, drink a lot, probably put weight on, but you're already in a place that you don't want to be, let alone put any more on top of that. And so you spend the start of the year, once you get Christmas and New Year out the way, thinking about how you're going to lose that weight. And you make a little attempt in January, and you lose £5, and then it kind of fizzles out by the end of January into February, and you go, do you know what, let's just get Easter out the way. And that makes you feel a bit better, because now you have a kind of projected timeline. It's like, cool, now I can not think about my weight for a bit. You get Easter out the way, half term out the way, and then you make another little attempt. And this one goes a little bit better, because you're thinking about your holiday, you're starting to buy clothes for it, you don't want those clothes to be bigger, so you maybe get a little further. But the closer you get to the holiday, the more your interest fizzles out and you just go, fuck it. I'll just accept the way I am, right? And then you maybe you go into one of those body acceptance modes. Do you know this? I see this pattern quite a lot where people start, and this is such a problem because people are always like half in, half out. And I think this is a big problem we have with social media where people understand that they're overweight, right? Let's just remove the aesthetic perspective from it, right? Because that's a personal preference. However you think you look, that's up to you. That's not up to anyone else to tell you. Even I don't tell people when they should or should not be losing weight. That's not my department. I'll help you if you have a goal for yourself. It's not up to me though to tell you that you should be losing weight. That's a you thing. So let's just think of it from a health perspective. You understand that it is affecting your health physically and mentally. You're tired, you're sluggish, you've got no energy, you're crashing in the afternoon, you're looking for a seat often, you feel like you're constantly telling the kids you'll be 5 minutes or you'll do that thing with them later and you never get round to doing it because you're too exhausted. Then you've got the parent guilt. All this stuff going on. And it makes you think, right, I need to lose weight. This has to happen. And so you make an attempt. And it's initially, 100%. Then the effort starts to fade. And then you start, because our brains don't like accepting things. Like your brain will not accept failure. Fuck no. Can't accept failure. It has to come up with something. And this is why we do the whole, let's just get Christmas and New Year out the way. Because it lets you shut down the noise. It lets you get rid of the guilt of not doing anything. Because you then have a projected timeline of when you are going to do something. It's all right, I can just enjoy Christmas and New Year because I know that I'm going to start this thing on the 3rd of January. And then same with Easter. Right, okay, the day the kids go back, I'm going to get into my walking again and I'm going to get out my Slumming World book or whatever it is. It's like we do that to try and shut our brains down so we can enjoy something, which ties in beautifully with the point that I will get to about holidays. And then what happens is, the closer you get to the thing, the more, if things aren't going well, if the scales aren't coming down, if you're getting frustrated, if you're fighting against behaviours like most people do, you're trying to diet while simultaneously battling through things that you're not resolving that made your weight go up, you are, of course, not going to lose much weight. And it will not stay lost for very long. And this is where we kind of switch into that acceptance mode. Because what people typically don't do is say, right, I'll get my holiday out of the way, then I'll go on a diet. Because the holiday was the whole point. That was the thing that you were anchoring to. You were trying to use your holiday to motivate you to get into a size whatever. And it didn't work. And now you're left a bit stumped. So what we do then is, and again, this is all because our brains cannot accept like just point blank failure. What we do then is we'll start following body positivity accounts. And then we'll try and fill our head with, well, maybe I just should accept this. Maybe I should just accept how I am. I'm supposed to be in a larger body. I'm supposed to have bigger clothes. Maybe I should just learn how to be happy like this. But you're not happy. You fucking hate how you feel. And now you're just going down another route that won't work because you're trying to, once again, in the same way that dieting is forcing yourself to eat a certain way to achieve an outcome, you're now trying to force yourself to think a certain way so you can accept your outcome. So the whole body positivity stuff, just like any kind of particular diet, there's a very small group of people that it's actually working for. So that brings us back to the holiday. So what people don't tend to do, like I said, is plan a diet before they go on holiday. Like, I'm going to do this thing when I get back. I've not seen that before. People just tend to go into acceptance mode and then just say, fuck it, I'm just going to go on holiday and do X, Y, and Z. And then what happens then is that they will get to the last few days of their holiday and the holiday blues will start to kick in and they will start thinking about their weight again. They'll start thinking about how much weight they've gained on holiday, how bloated they feel, how much they've eaten, the way that they've behaved, the way that they've acted. It seemed like a good idea at the time when you said, fuck it, I'm on holiday, I'm going to enjoy myself. But now you're not enjoying it because you're not enjoying how you're feeling. And of course you're getting those thoughts like, oh, it's almost time to go home, it's almost time to go back to work, to start paying bills, back to housework, back to routine, back to cooking, back to supermarket trips. So the holiday blues kick in. And of course the thing that you didn't resolve before you went away is still there. Your thoughts and feelings about your weight. You just managed to tuck them to the side for a little while because you were on holiday. It's easier to think a bit less about these when you're drunk half the time and enjoying yourself. And this is what starts to happen at this time of year and towards the end of August into September, is people start messaging me from their sun loungers. And it happens often enough that I can talk about it. It's a thing. This isn't just a one person did this one time. This is dozens of people will start to do this as we approach the end of summer because they do it every year. Sitting at their sun lounger next to the pool, and they'll send me a message saying, hey, listen, maybe not the last day. Sometimes it'll be halfway through the last week or whatever. And it's always the same thing. Hey, how are you? I'm on the last few days of my holiday. I'm just sitting next to the pool and I'm just wondering, do you think I should sign up just now or sign up when I get back? Now, what's happening here is, and this is similar to the whole, putting things on pause until Christmas and New Year, putting things on pause until Easter. They're trying to do something to let them enjoy the rest of their holiday. So, hey, I'm on the last few days of my holiday. I'm actually messaging you from the pool. We've had a great time, but I've eaten and drank far too much and I know that I need to lose weight when I get back. I'm just wondering, do you think I should sign up just now or should I sign up once I'm back? And they don't really want to ask me that question. Most of the time they don't care. They want to feel like they're doing something. They need to feel like they're doing something. Because if I reply and say, why don't you sign up just now? Or let's wait until you've got 3 days left of your holiday. Wait until you've got a free bit of time next to the pool and then sign up. That way you can watch day one when you're next to the pool. It won't take you long. And then you can catch up in the next couple of days. And in that way, once you come home, you can hit the ground running. You've done the kind of early introduction work, and you can crack on for, oh, great, thank you so much, I'll do that. I'll sign up on Thursday because we're due to come home on Sunday. And that person, and I know how they're thinking and feeling when I have these conversations, and I'm more than happy to help them feel a bit better so that they can enjoy the rest of their holiday. Like, we don't talk about weight, we don't talk about eating and drinking. Like, they don't ask me for advice on, should I start doing anything just now? I don't offer any advice in what they should be doing. They've gotten what they wanted, they've gotten what they needed. All they needed to know was they had one of those anchor points, very similar to Christmas, Easter, New Year, etc., to allow them to now quieten that voice, settle that anxiety, get rid of whatever that horrible, yucky feeling was that was bordering on having to, and them having to admit that, fuck it, here's another year gone by where I've done the exact same thing. I've spent the first 7 months of the year talking about losing weight. I've not actually lost any weight, and here I am, once again on holiday, in the same position that I promised myself I would not be in this time last year. I've done it again. And it makes them feel horrible. But they've still got 3 days of their holiday left, and this is their one holiday each year that they work hard for and cost a lot of money, and they don't want to feel horrible on it. And this is where they look for that outside help, which I am more than happy to give, because that person can now sit back in their sun lounger, put their phone down, take a deep breath and go, I feel better now. That guy on Instagram that I've been listening to for the last 5 years, I've signed up to work with him. I'll go through a trial with him. We'll get this holiday weight off when I come back, and I'm going to feel great. And that's it. That's all they needed. And then they come back and we crack on. So we're getting to that time of year where that's going to start happening quite a lot, because it does every year. But here's the important thing, right? That holiday thing was not my intention to talk about this morning, by the way. It just popped into my head. What I really want to talk about now is the whole yo-yo diet industry, because I'm quite disgusted with it at the moment. Not because it's done anything, it's not doing anything more than it usually does, it's just because of the way that I'm thinking and feeling about it. I get to points where I get very fatigued and exhausted with the diet world and what it's doing, what it does to people, what it's doing to people, what it always does to people. Come on, doggy, get through the gate, please. Thank you. And it pisses me off. So, I know this is going to be the same recurring message that you hear all the time from me, but we're going to present it in a different angle, and I want it to really, really, really hit home this time, because I know it doesn't matter how much you talk about something, people still don't get it. I had someone return to work with me this week who was doing ridiculously well at the beginning of the year. Signed up in December to start in January, started in January, and absolutely smashed it for 4 months. And she disappeared. Just disappeared, cancelled her membership. That was it, gone. Never to be heard from. Now, I don't offer a chasing service. Just so people understand this on the outside, so I make a quick explanation about it. You will get varying levels of service based on the amount of money that you pay, right? If you are a one-to-one private coaching client paying £300 a month, best believe you are going to be getting WhatsApps, messages, Instagram DMs, comments on your Instagram post. Like, if you are not answering someone, they are going to hunt you down and make you answer them, because that is the level of service, the level of attention that you're paying for. If you are paying a lot less than that, like if you're in the Monroe Method and you're paying £40 a month, it's not that you don't get a great level of service, it's you have to show up to get that level of service, right? I have got, 300 clients or something right now. I do not have a calendar where I spend hours and hours and hours tracking every single person, seeing when they're online, making sure they're showing up, in exchange for a couple of pound a day, if that makes sense. I hope that doesn't sound arsey. I want to explain, I want to get the point across as to like the things that people pay for determines the level of service. People get, when people show up for the check-ins, they will get the absolute 100% best for me because that's what they're paying for, right? Showing up for the fortnightly check-ins, the 5, 10, 15, 25 minute videos that I give back, depending how much help that person needs, the countless questions they can ask throughout the month, the back and forth that we have on their check-ins, that's all part of what they're paying for. But what I don't do is if someone cancels, there's two parts to this, right? One is like the time involved, but the other one is if somebody cancels, it's because they want to cancel. I don't go chasing people begging them to stay. If somebody's getting value from the service, they stay. If they feel like they're not, then they don't. That's fine. It's not I don't do what Slimming World do and go, hey, Kathy, we really miss you at group. I would love to see you back. Because, well, you're not here. I'm not getting your $5.95 per week or whatever it is. So anyway, like I said, this person cancelled, dropped off the face of the earth. Fair enough. I am not going to go chasing that person because I have no idea what they might be going through. For all I know, somebody's received a terminal diagnosis or a close family friend has passed away. I am not going to go. And then the time involved. Like all my time is spent working directly with the people who show up for their check-ins. That's my whole day. Plus making podcast episodes and dog walks and posting content on social media. Anyway, I hope that makes sense, right? Now, back to the point. Disappeared off the face of the earth. She then came back recently, weighing 3 stone more than when we stopped working together, which was a stone and a bit more than what she weighed at the start of the year. And when I asked her what happened, she had taken weight loss injections. Now, she didn't take them for very long because they made her feel awful. But what happened was, what did I say? End of April, end of May. It was something like, I'm sure it was the first 4 months. January, February, March, April. Maybe it was the end of April she left. Anyway, she left after making ridiculous progress. Consistent, every week, feeling great. Like, we weren't just talking about the scales and weight loss at our check-ins. She was talking about how great she was feeling, how much more energy she had, all this stuff. All the positive things we want to talk about. We don't want to talk about the scales. That's just a byproduct. We talk about how good you feel as a result of what you're doing, so that you want to keep doing what you're doing because of how good you feel, not just because a number's going down on a scale. And yeah, a family friend or a family member or a close relative was on weight loss injections. She had spent a bit of time with her, and she basically got sold into the idea, oh, you don't need to worry about that. Don't be messing around with protein and fibre. Don't be messing around with fruits and vegetables in your diet. Don't be messing around cooking big meals for yourself. Yeah, I know the injections are expensive, but if you think about how much less food you'll be eating, it kind of pays for itself. And this friend was taking her experience and saying, look at me. Look, I've lost. Look, how long has it taken you to lose that weight? 4 months? I've done that in a month. I'm making this part up, but you get the idea, right? Now, if you've spent any time around people on medications, and some of them do like to brag, especially when there's someone who's struggled with their weight. I've not had that experience because people would not probably talk about weight loss medications to me in my family or friend group, but you can imagine, right? A group of women sitting around a table, because I've seen this countless times, heard about it countless times. Oh, and they're all doing different diets. Oh God, how can you eat that? You're not allowed to eat that on Slimming World. Oh, how can you eat that? I'm doing keto. You can't have all that carbs. That's ruining your blood sugar. And well, I'm on weight loss medications. Look at my plate. Most of my stuff's left on my plate because I'm full. So anyway, she got lured in, magpie syndrome, ordered them, and felt awful on them for the first couple of weeks. And she did lose significant weight over those couple of weeks, but it was because she was so nauseous and being sick and couldn't eat. She had to come off them. Now here is the problem. She didn't come back to me because she was ashamed. She felt guilty. She felt awful. She felt like she had wasted my time. She felt like she wasted her own time. She was embarrassed. She didn't want to come back. She didn't want to reach out. She didn't want to say anything. And she didn't until her weight got to a point where she was panicking. And I'm sad that happened. I wish she had just posted a question inside the community and said, look, I'm thinking about doing this. What are your thoughts? Because somebody did that recently. I posted it on my Instagram. One of my clients messaged me and asked about Mounjaro. And I said, I just gave her a very honest opinion. She asked me, like, do you support people on medications? I said, absolutely. But the people have to need the medication for me to support it. You've been here this long. You've lost this much weight. This is how amazing you feel. What would a medication bring into it? Like, you are losing weight just fine. You're not hungry. You're enjoying everything you're eating. Your social life's great. You can't believe you're losing weight while still meeting up with your friends at the weekends. Why would you then want to go and potentially spoil that, by introducing something into the mix that isn't needed? Do you know, it's like Herbalife. I know Herbalife's not as big anymore, but if you ever read Herbalife, the shakes, on the back of the shakes it says, works best in conjunction with a healthy, balanced diet. And the question I always asked there was, okay, well, if you need to have a healthy, balanced diet for the Herbalife shakes to work, then what are the shakes for? The shakes are like a placebo. Oh, okay, well, I'm going to pay a lot of money for this shake. This shake says that I need to start eating a balanced diet. I'm going to start eating a balanced diet. Lo and behold, your weight starts coming down. Now keep doing the balanced diet bit and remove the shake. Your weight will still come down. It was kind of that situation. Like, you're already doing all the right things. You're already getting great results. What is spending hundreds of pounds a month on a weight loss medication going to add to this situation? And that's it. That was all I did. I just had a very frank, honest conversation with her. You're not someone who is carrying the obesity gene. You're not someone who doesn't have any appetite regulation. That's not your problem. And if that's not your problem, then weight loss medications are not the solution. But it doesn't matter. It's done now. She's gone through the experience. Sometimes people have to go through the experience to have that. They have to have that livable experience. They have to have that memory. They have to have lived through it. It's happened. This isn't the first time this has happened over the years. It's happened countless times. I've had people disappear midway through, come back, and they'll say, "Oh, I'm returning with my tail between my legs. I just had to give Slimming World one last try because." They stepped on the scales one day, saw a number they didn't see, and they go back to some stupid, ridiculous, individual, isolated memory at Slimming World at a time when they lost 4 pounds in a week. When they didn't lose 4 pounds in a week. They had gained 2 pounds the week before, lost 4 pounds the next week, therefore losing 1 pound each week over the last 2 weeks. But it's the way that these numbers are bragged about and celebrated, like, oh my God, 4 pounds in a week, what's your secret? So she had got inside her own head. Or Slimming World had got inside her head. So that's a super common thing. And like I say, sometimes if you are half in, half out with what you're doing, similar to what I said earlier on about the whole, part of you thinks you need to lose weight, but part of you thinks you should just accept where you are. That's a recipe for disaster. If you are not all in on changing yourself, then it's not going to work. If you've constantly got that little niggly voice that says, maybe you should just accept where you are, accept your weight, accept your body, then that voice is going to kick in at the moments that you don't want it to. At the time when you're looking for an excuse not to cook, when you're looking for an excuse to open a bottle of wine or have a Chinese or say yes to a night out. These are all fine things to do when you're doing them for positive reasons. But when it's, fuck it, I've had a bad day, I'm going to order a takeaway, that kind of stuff, that's when it becomes a problem. So, to circle this back to what I wanted to cover today, yo-yo dieting is a plague on this planet. The companies operating and running the yo-yo diets, I don't know if it's an age thing or I'm getting quite cynical, but like the way that I view the world now is that you do your job every day, every working day, and at the end of the month, money goes into your bank. It is then the world's job to extract that money from your bank. It's why you're shown ads. It's why social media has just turned into a big ads platform. They are basically learning every little intricate detail about you, absolutely everything they can. They are invading your privacy as much as they are legally allowed, sometimes illegally allowed, because they're trying to learn who you are so that their big brain AI computers can say, right, let's put this ad in front of this person because they are the type of person that will tap on that. And if they tap on that, there's a potential that that person will buy that product. And if that person buys that product, the person who's running this ad will think that we are doing a good job, and they will turn their ad up. And instead of spending $100 a day on it, they'll spend $1,000 a day. If somebody can spend $100 a day on marketing and they get 3 people to buy a $100 product, then you best believe that they are going to turn the investment into that marketing up by $10 to $1,000 to get 30 people to buy that product. And obviously, Facebook, Instagram, ads, the ads that are run on Meta, that's what they want. They want people to invest more money in marketing. And that's all you are. You are a person to be marketed to and extracted from. And this is what the yo-yo diet industry is like. It's the reason that Slimming World's success, not as a weight loss company, but as a business, comes from marketing the success of the few to the masses. That's why the Slimming World magazine exists. Here are 5 people from the last 6 months who lost a significant amount of weight. We flew them down to London, put on a big photo shoot for them, paid for all their clothes, their makeup, their hair, had professional photos done, and now we've slapped them into the middle of a magazine to show you how glam you could look if you just stick 100% to the plan and keep coming to Slimming World. That's a machine that just feeds itself. Like, you only need to have a few successes to have a successful business. You just market them. You may notice that I've stopped, well, maybe not noticed, but I've stopped posting before and after pictures. I don't do it anymore. I've got no interest in it. It's just, I don't want to build a business on that. I post quotes. When somebody says something awesome, or somebody says something quite inspirational or groundbreaking, or like it's a big light bulb moment, I'll take that quote, put it on a cover, tell you the story about that person, how they've been doing over the months they've been working with me. And what happens is a few thousand people will read that. Half a dozen of them will go, oh, that's me. And then they'll look into what I do and maybe come and work with me one day. That's it. No brutal, forceful, constantly work with me marketing. It's just, here, look, this is what this person's achieved. If you're like this person, maybe you could achieve that too. Come and find out. But yeah, you are someone who the yo-yo diet industry wants to extract massive amounts of money from. How do you do that? How do you get people to pay for weight loss in a big way? You make sure they pay for it over and over and over again by making sure they are following plans that are not designed to help them for life. And this is the thing, right? Because there is such a big market for rapid weight loss, and this is here's something that nobody's talking about yet, and I'm going to type this in my phone because that's going to be an Instagram reel idea. I said
recently that weight loss, or a while ago now, I said that weight loss medications are the next big yo-yo diet. And they are, because the amount of people who are coming into the Monroe method and in their diet history, now at the end of it, a lot of people are putting weight loss medications. So these are people who have, weight loss medications were supposed to be some miracle cure, some miracle answer. That's it, we've solved weight loss forever. And yet I've got dozens, soon to be hundreds of people coming to work with me with weight loss medications as a part of their diet history. Because it's not a solution. It's like anything. There are a very small, specific group of people that they are going to genuinely, truly help. And then there's everyone else who is using them as a shortcut that they will not be able to live in. Because they don't know how to live in a body that size, because if they were supposed to be that size, the way that they're living would have taken their body to that size. When I say you don't know how to live in a body that size, I'm not thinking about you don't know how to dress yourself or brush your teeth or wash it or things like that. It's not like a completely alien body. The point is that once you've lost a significant amount of weight, your calorie burn will drop significantly. And if your eating habits have not dropped significantly to match it, you're going to come off those medications. If you're 18 stone and weight loss medications help you get to 10 stone, your calorie burn is going to plummet because it no longer needs to be higher because it's not supporting an 18 stone body. You don't have that extra 8 stone of body fat burning calories for you and keeping your calorie burn high. So if you come off, if you've had a diet that's taken you to 18 stone and you've taken a medication that's helped you create the eating habits of a 10 stone person, and you then remove the medication, what's going to happen? You are almost immediately going to go back to living like the 18 stone version of you, except you're going to be doing it in a 10 stone body. And what happens then? Your body has to get bigger and bigger again to support the number of calories you're trying to force it to have. And thus creating the problem all over again, and this is why it's showing up in so many people's diet history. Medications. Tried them, was great when I was on them, weight flew down. And the thing that seems to be the common message is that, but I couldn't afford to keep taking them. I read a story, one of those, when you open your browser, your internet browser on your phone, and random stories come up that you might be interested in. One popped up, and it was some businessman who had lost 6 or 7 stone, taking the weight loss medications after trying every diet under the sun. Usual story. Yo-yo dieted all my life, tried every diet going. I thought these would be great. Took them, lost 6 stone, but I had to stop taking them because he had to keep increasing his dose. As the dosages, I can't say that, as the dosages went up, the costs went up to the point where he was paying £300 a month. Couldn't justify it anymore, but he'd lost enough weight and he thought, you know what, I'll be fine if I stop taking this. Immediately. Food noise was a big thing that he spoke about. My food noise used to be terrible. I used to go to the snack van on my break every day and order enough to feed 2 people and blah, blah, blah. All of that just came straight back again, and he had put most of that weight back on. We're going to end on this, right? Dieting is Dieting is the problem. Dieting is the reason that people are gaining weight. God, I've worked with thousands of people who would give their kidneys to go back to the weight that they were when they first started dieting. That very first time they walked into a Slimming World meeting, that very first time they walked into a Weight Watchers meeting, all they wanted to do was lose a few pounds. That was all they wanted to do. I'll go here for a few weeks, we'll get a few pounds off, and that'll be me. Little did they realise that they were at the beginning of a yo-yo dieting career. Now, that's not everyone's experience. but it's enough people's experience for it to be, I would say, maybe a majority, possibly a majority of people who just dream of going back to when they were 21, 23, 19, when they first decided, you know what, I've got a little tummy. I don't want to have a little tummy. My mum goes to Slimming World, let's go there and see what that's like. Fast forward 10, 20, 30 years, you're 2, 3, 4 stone more heavier because you have yo-yo dieted your way there. You think you've had some successes along the way because your weight's come down, but if you were successful, why are you listening to this? Why are you still here? Why are you still pissing about with your weight? But the whole success thing, that's a story for another day. But the dieting, if you want to lose weight for the rest of your life, you need to stop dieting. What is dieting? Define dieting. Dieting is eating in a certain way for a certain amount of time to achieve a certain outcome. The word diet has 2 definitions. A diet is the type of foods habitually consumed by a person or a group of people. So like when we talk about the Mediterranean diet, the Western diet, the whatever diet, we're talking about how people typically eat in those places. When we're talking about the other definition of dieting, which is a short-term diet to achieve a specific outcome, something like that. For example, like somebody was placed on a, I don't know, water-only diet before an operation. Somebody was placed on a... Oh Christ, the terms went right out of my head. Placed on a elimination diet when trying to figure out their IBS symptoms. Or somebody went to Slimming World, Weight Watchers. So basically, we try to solve the problem with the problem, okay? So your problem is that you have a diet that is leading you to gain weight, right? And it doesn't matter what you think about it, what you feel about it, how rare you think it is, it's irrelevant. The amount of people I work with who do their first 2 days of tracking on days 5 and 6 so that I can see how they look, what their eating habits are like. Quite often they will tell me, oh, that's not how I eat all the time. That was a weekend. I'm like, yeah, but there's 52 weekends in a year. That's how you eat 52 times out of the year. People try to convince themselves, oh, that was a one-off. That's not how I normally eat. But it is how you normally eat. It's how you normally eat when it's the weekend. Oh, that's not how I normally eat. We were out for a meal that night and then I went out and met my friends for coffee that day. Like, yeah. But this is how you normally eat. You know, these moments are not separate from your life. And again, that's a problem. You're trying to separate your life into different parts. Here's how I eat all the time. Here's how I eat on holiday. Here's how I eat with friends. Here's how I eat when I have a meal out. So I always explain to people, look, these 2 days that you're showing me, it doesn't matter if it's a normal Tuesday working day or if it's a Saturday, because it's also a normal Saturday. These 2 days might not be indicative of how you eat all the time, but if they show me a Monday or a Tuesday, I know damn well that's not what their eating's going to look like on a Saturday or a Sunday. And it's the same if they show me a Saturday and Sunday. I do take into account that this is probably not how this person eats all the time. If somebody shows me 2 days of tracking and it looks incredible, I know that's not how they eat all the time, because how do they have 5 stone to lose? You need to take that step back. Everybody needs to do this, right? You need to take that step back, and instead of compartmentalizing your diet into, this is what I'm like when I'm being good, this is what I'm like when I'm on it, this is what I'm like Monday to Friday, it doesn't matter. Because it's not how you are all the time. It's how you are part of the time, and it's only part of your diet. You need to take that step back and say, actually, everything that I do every day, all of the time, that is my diet as a whole. Some of it is positive, some of it's a problem. We're going to work on the problem stuff. It's not about trying to create a new diet. It's trying to do more of the stuff that you're doing well, less of the stuff that's not so great. But this is what I mean, right? People try to solve dieting with dieting. So if your problem is that you have a terrible diet, you will try and replace your terrible diet for a little while with a diet that's better than your normal one. And once you've lost the weight that you want to lose, you stop following said diet, that same diet that was better than the one you already had, and you go back to normal. You're not going to solve a problem with the problem. I had a wonderful chat last week with someone about all or nothing thinking, right? Their problem is that Monday to Thursdays are great, Fridays when they tend to fall off, and if they do something that wasn't planned on a Friday, then they just give up until Monday. And that's something that we'll work on over time. We'll bring it up, we'll talk about it, we'll dig into it. But recently, something happened, and it was like a Friday thing. Oh, I had an unplanned meal on a Friday. Oh, no, sorry. She was just back from holiday. And she was struggling to get back into tracking after her holiday. She was finding it a little difficult. And I'm like, look, it's normal. You've got the holiday blues. She came back from her holiday. She's a teacher. So she's had a very long period off. If you're someone who's ever had a long period off, you can get a lot of anxiety and kind of pre-stress just thinking about returning to work. I used to work 4 days on, 4 days off in a construction industry, making slabs and monoblock and stuff. So because I worked 4 days on, 4 days off, and we shut down at school times basically, summer, like when the construction industry shut down, I used to get like 24 days off in a row. So I know what it's like to be off for a prolonged period of time. That horrible sleep the night before, the thoughts as you get to the last couple of days. So as a teacher, imagine getting 6, 7, 8 weeks off during summer. So she had that coming up. She was a deputy head teacher, so a lot of responsibility, a lot of stress to go with her job, lots of things to think about that she really doesn't want to start thinking about yet. She had just come back from holiday last week, so she must be a Scottish school that I discovered, because she was planning that she was going back to school this week. And she was struggling to get back to how she felt before. And I said, look, you've got, it's all against you right now. You're thinking about work. You've got the holiday blues. It's understandable that this has happened. But here's the problem that I spotted right at the end of our check-in. So I make people make a statement of commitment at the end of their check-in. And the question is worded very specifically to make them commit to something. So many people, I used to word it and say, what do you plan on doing between now and next check-in? Oh, I'm going to try. I'm maybe going to try and do this. Like, so non-committal. So I changed the question where I had it fill in their name and say, I, Shona Barry, am going to do this, this and this between now and next check-in. Right? So it's a committal thing. There's no try involved. You either do it or you don't do it. And if you don't do it, next time we'll have a chat about why you didn't do it, so we can try and improve it. But what she said was, I am going to plan all of my meals. Now, this is someone who suffers badly from all or nothing thinking, and she is trying to fix her all or nothing thinking with all or nothing thinking. It makes no sense for someone who struggles with all or nothing thinking to try and plan every single one of their meals, because what happens as soon as one of those meals don't go to plan, or you order a takeaway that one time instead of having your planned meal, you will sack off the rest of the week. So we spoke about that and said, look, that's, because of the type of person you are and the way that you think, you are potentially setting yourself up for failure by doing that. So let's not think about planning every meal. Let's plan for most of them, understanding that they might not all go to plan. Isolate specific days where they might not go to plan. Is there any common themes? Are there any specific days? Is there a day that you get home from work and it's like the most exhausting day and it's the one where you're most likely to order a takeaway? Cool. Plan a takeaway for that day. But you can't solve the problem with the problem. If the problem is that your weight has gone up as a result of your current diet, you are not going to solve it by following some short-term diet. What you have to do is fix the one that you already have. You don't replace it with a new one. The new one might give you the impression that it's working because you're losing weight. But the new one, you're not going to follow it forever. And if something only brings you success when you follow it, then it's not really successful at all. This is why Slimming World, etc. doesn't work. Unless you plan on following the rules for your entire life, then you're not going to be successful. And who the hell wants to go to Slimming World meetings and count sins and healthy extras and keep up with the rules as they change every January and all the new sin values and all that nonsense, just to make the scale stay down. Stuff that. Stop yo-yo dieting. Everything is a yo-yo diet. Everything. Weight loss medications are a yo-yo diet. For the vast, vast, vast majority of people. Anyway, enough from me. Until next time.